The Section YY podcast is finally back. We're recording on a rainy Wednesday night here in beautiful Strawberry Plains, Tennessee. I'm Negative Niece. That's Harb. We're going to jump right into it, Harb, because we have a ton to talk about. A lot going on in Rocky Top here recently, right?
Quite a bit, quite a bit. Whole lot of the same, a little bit of new. Either way, we're shucking and jiving.
Yeah, it's so since we recorded last week, a lot's happened. There's a football game, there's been an exhibition basketball game, and oh yeah, Tony Vitello left. And oh yeah, they hired a new coach.
Well,
Unbelievable.
not a new one.
Not a new one,
We
but
got a, we got a
technically a
promotion.
new head coach.
We got a promotion.
Promotion from within.
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about that right out of the gate. We'll get to sending Kentucky back to the mines, and I don't remember what episode of Back to the Mines this is. I'll have to look it up once we get through recording. But just know this is a Back to the Mines special. But first, Tennessee baseball. I'm wearing the Tennessee baseball hoodie, I guess. I actually just like this hoodie in general, but um, so we recorded last Tuesday night, I think, and at the time, Tony Vitello was still head coach of Tennessee baseball. Well, the next day, it came out that he would be moving on to San Francisco, and I mean, you and I both said we'll believe it when we see it, and kind of deep down, though, I kind of thought I was like, man, I just don't see this not happening. I was holding out hope that it wouldn't because I didn't want to lose Tony and what he's done for Tennessee baseball, bringing this program up out of the ashes. But hard to turn that down, no matter what the haters and losers, of which there are many, would say that there was all this drama between him and Danny White and the athletics department and the women's basketball program. The man got offered to coach one of the more historic franchises in professional baseball. San Francisco Giants used to be the New York Giants. A lot of world championships, three within the last 15 years. So it's got to be tough, but he made in his words, quote, selfish decision to do that. And so you can't blame the man. There was a lot of, after it happened, he promoted Frank Anderson, the pitching coach, to interim, or named him interim head coach. And just a lot of moaning and belly aching and all this stuff we talked about last week. It had to turn off social media. It was terrible. The stuff that people were going on with. Danny White's going to blow the program up. He's not going to hire Elander. What in the world's this guy doing? He doesn't care. He doesn't like baseball. He's all he cares about is money. Well, he ends up hiring Josh Elander, the guy that was one of the key architects in turning this program into a perennial SEC national championship contender. I think they got the right guy, Harb. I wasn't against him doing a quote national search, which I don't think it was much of a national search, but this is one of the better jobs in college baseball now, thanks to Tony Vitello. The man had to do his due diligence, and he probably knew all along he was going to hire Josh Elander, but you got to at least look around. What if Jay Johnson at LSU is like, man, I really like that Tennessee job. Now he's never going to leave LSU to come here, but you don't know that if you don't ask. Worst thing people can tell you is no. So you got to at least ask. And it was probably a pseudo national search. I think he interviewed Coastal Carolina's coach. That was probably about it. But ended up hiring Elander. It was announced Saturday around lunchtime. Very popular decision within the clubhouse. Very popular decision within the fan base. We'll see how it works out. Never been a head coach before, but neither was Tony Vitello. But he was a key figure, key architect in building this program into what it is today. I think the players will rally around him. Fans seem to have rallied around him. They're going to be walking into a new stadium basically and here in a few months, and we'll see if he can keep the recruiting train going. What do you think?
I think at least for the short term, this was the only move you could make. Uh, Remind me, did I make the Miami comparison on last week's show?
I can't remember if you did or not, but you did in text messages.
So this is extremely similar to when Butch Davis left the Miami Hurricanes football program to go coach Cowboys back in, what was that, two, early 2000s, we'll call it.
I think it was either after the 99 or the 2000 season.
I think it was after 2000 because they won it in '01. But
Yes.
when he left, every single player in the locker room and players that had just left the program were screaming for Larry Coker to get promoted. And I believe it was Ed Reed. He's got one of the best quotes of all time. He's like, man, we've been here long enough and we're good enough. We know what to do. We just need a chaperone to take us from game to game. And he said, we don't need anybody coming in to change up the chemistry, change up what we're doing. We need somebody that's been here and it's going to do the same exact thing, and we'll roll with it there. They hire Larry Coker. 2001 Miami team ended up being the greatest college football team of all time, and they kept the momentum going. And it ended up fizzling out just a hair, but Josh Elander's not Larry Coker. He's, how old's Elander? Probably 35.
I think he's mid 30s. Yeah.
Yeah. Larry Coker was probably 70. So it is a little different.
I looked Larry Coker up, by the way. He's 77 right now.
Now,
Yes. Pretty
he looked
sure.
he looked
He,
73 in
he did.
2001.
He
Holy
did.
cow.
I'm going to confirm that, but keep talking.
Either way, though,
Yes. 77. He was born in 1948.
holy cow.
I didn't know this. He coached for the San Antonio Roadrunners till 2016. No idea.
So he was in his mid 50s. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, that threw me for a loop. But it's the same deal. You know, when you've got a program that's as good as this one with as much momentum as we have, you really don't want to bring in somebody from outside to take over. Doesn't matter how good they are. Uh, I think I said this last week. We're a top three baseball program right now. I don't think, especially over the last 5 years or so, I don't think anybody's going to argue with you on that. What we've got going on inside that clubhouse and at this university is working. And has been just as important to this process as anyone has. Um, and it'll be interesting to see what the staff looks like by the time the first game starts. I think everybody's going to stay. And if it does, that's absolutely huge, which obviously they're going to have to bring one more person in. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a former player that played under this regime that may or may not have fizzled out in pro ball here recently. But yeah, it was what you had to do. And in 4 or 5 years from now, if it's not working, Danny White can go in a separate direction if he wants to. But at least for the short term, this was absolutely the correct move. Hats off to Danny White. The fake outrage when Vitello left for the Giants against Danny White is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard. I mean, the man made history. So, but either way, I think all around, this is the best case scenario for the follow up of Coach Vitello leaving. Now, obviously, we'll see as the season progresses. It could go poorly, but the odds are very much so against that.
I mean, honestly, he's only got one position to fill, and that's his.
Yeah.
I mean, because from the sounds of it, they're keeping Frank Anderson, Ross Cavett, Quinn Eberhart. Yes, Quinn Eberhart, the strength and conditioning coach. I don't think those guys are going to leave. I don't know where they would go if they left right now, anyways. There's really not any assistant coaching jobs open currently. So, I mean, you got to think the staff is going to look the same next year. Basically, all you're trading out is Tony Vitello for an assistant coach, which that's a big loss. But I don't. I think they're going to keep the continuity thing going. I don't think there's any way that changes right now. Now, maybe after next year, it doesn't sound like Elander's going to be in much of a hurry to hire somebody. I think his quote was, my main and sole focus is the people in the building currently and making sure everything's good. And they've got, I think, recruiting or the signing day for this next recruiting class is here in a week or so. So they really got to focus on that. And then I think he'll go to work trying to find an assistant coach. But you're right, it could be. I mean, is it Kirby Cannell? I mean, he's a graduate assistant on staff. Is it him? I don't know. I mean, it could be anybody. So that's something to keep your eye on. But I'm happy with the hire. Hope it works out. I think it's just a lot of unknown. I mean, this is we said it last week, and everybody else has said it too. This is a unique situation that we're having to deal with, and I say we, Tennessee, is having to deal with because it's never happened before. A coach leaving a college team in October to go become a manager of a Major League Baseball team. It's never happened. So this is all uncharted waters, and I guess we're in the boat, and we're going to see where we end up with it. I hope the train keeps rolling because I've always enjoyed Tennessee baseball. I'm a big baseball fan, but these last 7 years have been so much fun, especially with giving us something to do in March, well, April, May, and June, pretty much the last 5 and 6 years. So hope it keeps rolling. I think it will. Hopefully, keep bringing in players and keep the same formula going, and it shouldn't let you down. Hopefully, many are wondering. We'll see.
We'll find out here in about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
Which is
we'll
crazy to
see.
say.
I mean, they've got you know the players they've got aren't going anywhere. I mean, they're just not. So they've got the team intact that Tony Vitello pretty much brought in with these guys. So I mean, they should be set up. It was a highly recruited high school class. It was a highly rated transfer portal class. So they should have some horses in the barn. So let's run with them. Let's see what happens. All right, back to the mines. I looked it up, Harbin. This is Back to the Mines Part 7. How are we here already? But
7.
that's a
Yeah.
dumb question. How are we here already? It's like clockwork. You're going to have a Back to the Mines episode, maybe multiple episodes per season. So, Back to the Mines Part 7. Summer basketball. There's some basketball sprinkled in there. So, Vols blow away Kentucky. What was it? 56-34, something like that. I didn't even pay attention there at the end. Um, a lot of points by Tennessee, a lot of offense, especially from Joey Aguilar, three wide receivers, over 100 yards. Big night offensively. Defense, not so much. It was a big night in the wrong way for them. We'll get into that in a minute, but nice win for Tennessee. They bounced back. They didn't let Alabama beat them twice. So bounced back from that, and now we've got a big game coming up this Saturday with Oklahoma. But thoughts on the Kentucky game the other night?
It was fun. It was frustrating at times, but Joey Aguilar shined. He had 393 yards, I believe, in the air. We had three receivers with at least 100 yards. I think Brazel had 135, and then Staley and Matthews both had around 105 or so. Run game was good. This offense looked really good. Offense took care of business, and the defense did at times. But I got really frustrated because there were multiple instances in that game where if you get a stop or a turnover, you're winning by 35. And I'm never gonna complain about winning a conference game by 22 ever. But that was frustrating because it's like I don't know if we can blow somebody out. We can beat a lot of teams, don't get me wrong, but just like the blowout factor, like anytime the game was kind of close, and the game was never in jeopardy, but when the score was fairly close, defense made plays, and then the offense would piggyback off of it, and then we get up again. But then it was almost like we kind of fell asleep at times, and because let's just be 100% honest with you, that Kentucky offense is not good. It's bad, probably really bad. He let him put 34 on you. And like I said, the game was never in jeopardy, so it wasn't necessarily nervy, but it was irritable. I'll put it that way. And when you're scoring as many points and as fast as you are like that, I mean, you're going to give up a couple points. It just kind of is what it is. But yeah, defense left a little bit to be desired out there, which is kind of a common theme.
They let Cutter Boley, the quarterback for Kentucky, 26 to 35 for 330 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. Aguilar had a good night, like you mentioned, 20 to 26, 396, 3 touchdowns. Our wide receivers, Brazel, 4 for 138 and a TD. Matthews, 6 for 107 and a TD. Staley, 6 for 105. But the Tennessee defense to me kind of encapsulates what this season's been about. Just leaving a lot out there. They had a multiple opportunities to just blow them out of the water early. I'm not talking about like, oh, we're about to blow them out in the third quarter. This was in early middle of the first half. They're up 28-7, and this thing is going to go south in a hurry if Kentucky doesn't score. And what'd they do? They marched right down the field and scored to make it 28-14. Offense, I don't know what we did that next possession. We obviously didn't score. Gave it back to Kentucky, and they make it 28-21. I think that was the 16 play, 96-yard drive. That was the thing that pissed me off that night. Like, I understand our defense isn't great. We're missing our two best corners. We were missing our best linebacker, Arion Carter, with injury. But this is the worst team in the conference. Probably statistically, I don't know for a fact, but probably statistically the worst offensive team in this conference. And we let them go down the field in 16 plays for 96 yards. I don't care what Big Montana says. They said yards don't matter. That's pathetic. 16 plays for 96 yards and giving up a TD. Now, we went down and scored in the half, and that was a fantastic answer by the offense. I just don't think it's sustainable. Harb, correct me if I'm wrong. The offense right now has to be almost perfect, and they were not perfect against Kentucky. They had some possessions where they came up empty, but they're not going to be. It's almost impossible. I shouldn't say impossible, but you're just not going to score every possession in football, especially not at this level in this conference. And to expect the offense just to say, just go score, guys, it ain't that easy. And the defense, yes, they are forcing some turnovers. They're great at tackles for loss, but they're also giving up a ton of points, a ton of yards. They're terrible on third down. There's a lot, they're leaving a lot out there on the field like this whole football team has this whole season. You could sit here and say, I don't count the Bama game because we just lost to them. But the Georgia game, we should have one loss right now. Make that field goal, the game's over. Also, get off the field on multiple third downs. Get off the field on fourth down. Don't give up a 2-point conversion. Like that game was ours. Should have one loss. Bama game, different story. But this defense worries me. I will talk about Oklahoma in a minute. I think we're better than Oklahoma, but what if What if the offense has a mediocre or a little bit off night and the defense plays like this? What do we do?
You lose.
You lose. And right now you're asking one unit of your team to be absolutely perfect. I'm not even talking about special teams at this point. Well, if there's a mistake on special teams and sets up our defense inside the red zone where we're giving up 83% touchdown rate on red zone possessions, that's pathetic. And I don't know what the answer is. They're obviously down some personnel right now. I don't know that that's going to get any better. It could be worse. Rumors going around Colton Hood has a calf injury. Is he going to be able to play this weekend? Is he at 100%? If he don't play and we don't have McCoy and Gibson, I'm super worried about our defense. Offense, I think we're going to score some points against Oklahoma. I mean, Ole Miss did it. We're just as good as, or if not better than Ole Miss offensively. So I'm glad we won. It's always good to beat Kentucky. We did blow them out. Line was 9.5, 8.5. We won by 22. But when you dive deep into it, there's still some glaring issues with this team. But looking at the positive side of it, Tennessee's 6-2, and they are going to be favored in every game left on this schedule. Legit opportunity to be 10-2. Does that get you in the playoffs? Maybe, probably. We'll see. But it at least gets you in a bigger bowl game of some kind outside of the playoffs if you don't. So I don't know, Harb. It was kind of a irritating night. I was with you over at Slagle's, and y'all could sense the frustration in some of my actions and comments throughout the evening, but I'm not gonna cry about a win. That's for sure. I
Oh
love
my
winning.
God. So let me ask you something. At least in your lifetime, what year of Tennessee football had the worst defense?
2012 in
Well,
my lifetime.
and I would agree with that. And there was a young cat on VolQuest. His tag on here is 007 Vol,
Oh,
and he said, "I've been doing some digging from a curious and bored mind." He took some statistics for the first 7 games of the season, defensive statistics for the 2012 season, and put them up against the 2025 season. The 2025 season. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It was for the entire 2012 season versus the first 7 games of the 2025 season. So the Kentucky game is not added here. So this 2025 defense is giving up 35.3 points per game, 266 yards in the air, 135 rushing yards per game, and 4 total touchdowns. 3.9. 2012, the worst defense ever, gave up 35.7 points per game, 282 passing yards a game, 189 rushing yards. Jesus. I mean,
God.
that's
Good
so bad.
Lord.
And they average giving up 4.3 touchdowns per game. One team went 5-7, the other one is 6-2, and which is kind of wild to think about because that offense in 2012 was really good.
It was very good.
And it's just funny. It's those are the stats. Do with that what you will. Those are the stats. And I did a little bit of my own digging because I was curious. I did the 2022 defense through 8 weeks of that season, which that obviously excludes the Missouri game where I think we gave up 30 or 27.
Yeah, it was a lot that game.
The South Carolina debacle where we gave up 63. Uh, it excludes some points. So I'll go through it pretty quick. Here's a wild stat. How many passing yards per game do you think we gave up in 2022?
I'm gonna say 240.
Through 8 games, which it only got worse, we gave up 300.7 yards per game through the air.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
The rushing yards per game were only 92.8, which is much better than the other 2 years we're comparing. And this year, Tennessee's given up 401 average yards of total offense. Through 8 weeks, the 2022 defense gave up 394 a game. So I don't know if the sky's falling, but the biggest difference is this team's given up 35 a game. The 2022 team gave up 21. That's bend don't break. You can't be a bend but don't break defense when you're giving up red zone touchdowns at an 84% clip. I didn't look at the numbers on red zone efficiency on the defensive side in 22, but it was extremely better than 84%. I do know that. So So we can act like his defense is awful. It is in the red zone. Outside of the red zone defense, this is an extremely normal Tennessee defense under this regime. Last year was a little bit of an anomaly, but I honestly feel like that defense was better just because it had to be. It's amazing what pressure will do to somebody at that level. It goes one of two ways, and thankfully the defense last year went the good way. But I mean, when you look at the numbers like that, it's the red zone where we're just killing ourselves. If somebody gets it inside the 20, you might as well just go ahead and chalk 7 up.
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously. In 22, we force a lot of field goals or turnovers or what have you, and that's kind of the difference. I think this offense is comparable to 22. That's why I brought up that year. I'm not going to debate and say which one's better and which one's worse and all that. I'm just going to say that they're comparable and keep it rolling. But there's a million different ways to look at this defense. It just is what it is. I don't think they're good, but I don't think it's as atrocious compared to recent years outside of last year as people try to lead on, though.
yeah. No, I mean, I said it earlier. They've done some good things. The turnovers, and they're very good at getting to the quarterback. They're very good at tackles for loss, but it's like you said. I mean, if they get in the red zone, you might as well put 6 up there. I mean, it's just is what it is. But um, I was looking at some statistics here comparing Tennessee and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's pass defense is miles apart from Tennessee's pass defense. Tennessee's 122nd in the country defending the pass, giving up 266 yards a game. Oklahoma's given up 155. Conversely, Tennessee's the number 3 passing offense in the country at like 321 per game right now. So something's got to give in that area on Saturday, especially Tennessee's passing game versus Oklahoma's defensive passing attack. But um, I don't know. Good win. I shouldn't say great. Kentucky's terrible. Good win on the road. You're 6-2. You're moving on to Oklahoma. Um, again, I kind of jumped on Big Montana the other day. He said everything's in front of you. No, it's not because you don't control your own destiny. There's still a lot out there in front of you, but if you win out and everybody else wins out, you're not going to Atlanta. You're not playing for an SEC title. Your destiny for playoffs is in others' hands. I mean, we're sitting here like, we need this team to lose, we need that team to lose, we need that team to lose. So it's really not, everything's not out in front of us. It is in a way, but you're not going to get there unless you win. And they got to find a way here these next 4 games to JWTDG it. And that starts this Saturday with the Sooners. Boomer Sooner coming to town, first time since 2015. This is a really big game, not just in the SEC, but nationally. I think it's pretty much an elimination chamber match here, Harb. One of these teams is going to be
Oh yeah,
eliminated from SEC and national contention with a loss. So
for sure. Is Oklahoma 6-2 as well?
yes, they have two. They have two losses. I don't know if they're 6-2, but they have two losses.
This is 1,000% an elimination game.
Oh yeah, there's been a
Yeah,
lot of those here the last couple weeks.
yeah. This whoever loses this game, you can kiss playoffs goodbye. You can still have a good season, but you lose this one, you're done as far as I guess national championship hopes go.
Yeah, I mean you
But
are.
all four of our games are elimination games.
Yeah, I mean Tennessee's.
We're in the loser bracket,
We're in the loser bracket.
I mean, and we're trying to do this.
Yeah, and that's what it starts. It started last weekend against Kentucky. They advanced to the next round, and they're trying to do it again versus Oklahoma. It's Vols favored by 3.5, 63% chance to win on the matchup predictor. It's at home. Tennessee is very good at home under Josh Heupel. Um, but I didn't even mention it's dark mode activated. So that's an added layer to it. It's a night game, so the crowd's going to be extra sauced coming into coming into Neyland on Saturday night. So I've got a good feeling about this game, Harb. I think we're the better football team. I think we're the better football program right now. But you got to go out there and do it. And this is not going to be an easy game. I don't foresee Tennessee coming out here and just blowing out Oklahoma. I mean, it could come down to the wire, but I mean, they might. I don't know. Oklahoma's got some issues right now. The quarterback play since Mateer came back's not been really all that great. I mean, he's been okay.
He came back too early.
I mean, he's not the same quarterback he was since he was injured.
No, he came back too early. He should not have played against Texas.
I mean, he went down in what game was that, Harb? Did he go down in the Auburn game? Was he injured
Wait,
in the
I think he finished the game.
So they beat the following week, yeah, because they beat Kent State 44-0. Then they lost to Texas 23-6, and he came back. Then they
Yeah, there was
last
a bye week in between there
there
too.
was a bye week in there, and then 2 weekends ago when we were in Alabama, they beat South Carolina 26-7. Um, then they lost last week to Ole Miss 34-26. They gave up 34 to Ole Miss, and this is one of the better defenses in the conference. Ole
Ole
Miss
Miss,
is
Ole Miss is very good offense though.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss's offense is very similar to ours statistically and how they operate. So, um, I don't know how this game plays out, Harb. I picked Tennessee to win in the preseason. I'm still going to hold to that. I have us going 9-3 though, but this was not one of my three losses. What are you expecting Saturday? Anything?
I mean, yeah, I expect a victory. I do. You can call it you can call it Homer. You can call it dumb. You can call it whatever you want to. I expect a Tennessee victory. I think if these two teams play on a neutral site 10 times, Tennessee probably goes 6-4. It might be 5-5. Hell, Oklahoma might win six. I don't know, but with it being at home and a night game, now I'm not saying we're going to blow them out because I fully expect John Mateer to have his resurgence game.
Yeah, and
I
he'll
mean,
be back in prime form this weekend.
yeah, he's gonna go for 3.5 bills, probably 4 touchdowns. Might get a pick to help our odds in the fourth, but I still expect us to win. I don't think their defense is as good as people give it credit to be. Um, I don't. Um, Ole Miss put 34 on them in Norman, which we said Ole Miss's offense is good. Like you said, give up 7 points, South Carolina, whoop-de-doo. Congratulations. Texas's offense is absolutely abysmal. They got 23. I mean, and Auburn couldn't score in a brothel, and they got 17 in Norman. So I I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a full believer. I'm not the biggest time believer in their defense. I do think that over 55.5 is an absolute mortal lock of the century, though. Do you have any faith in us holding them to less than 27 points?
I don't right now, no.
Do you think we're going to win?
Yes.
Okay, well, if it's 28-27, that's 55 right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you think Tennessee's going to win the football game, you have to bet the over.
I'm looking at Mateer's numbers from this year. He's played in 5 football games. Versus at Temple. This can't be right. There's more than that. Oh, see all. That might help. Let's see. First game of the year, Illinois State, 30 of 37, 392, 3 TDs and a pick. Versus Michigan, they won 24-13. He was 21 of 34 for 270, 1 pick, 1 TD. All right. At Temple, 20 of 34. This was a 42-3 win. 20 of 34, 282, 1 TD, 1 pick. Throwing a pick in every game. Versus Auburn, this was that really tight game in Norman, 24-17. He was 24 of 36, 271, 1 touchdown, no picks. That was when he was hurt. He was out bye week. They played Kent State. He comes back for the Texas game. 20 of 38, 202, 0 TDs, 3 picks. At South Carolina, 18 of 26, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Last week versus Mississippi State, 17 of 31, 223, 1 touchdown, 0 picks.
I mean, Ole Miss.
Or yeah, Ole Miss. Um,
I think the problem is it's his throwing thumb. So if it's not fully healthy, it's hard to move it down the field.
yeah, I mean he had a long of 76, but was that like a intermediate pass that ran that? I don't know. I didn't get to watch the game, but
Clue.
I mean his numbers. I mean he's got 8 TDs and 6 picks on the year. I mean you would think this guy a month ago was supposedly a Heisman front runner, and he did have some good numbers early on, but I mean Joey Aguilar is blowing this guy out of the water statistically. Um, yeah,
Oh,
he's probably gonna put up some yards against Tennessee. I mean, I know he is. I don't have any faith that he's not, especially if Colton Hood's out. Um, but honestly, when you look at his numbers, I'm not as in, I know he's hurt and he's been hurt, but I'm just not as impressed as I thought I should be with this guy from what I was hearing and seeing earlier in the season. But I don't know. We'll make him look like an All-American on Saturday night, won't we, Harb?
yes, we will. But he is that caliber of a player, though.
Yeah.
He is. I think as a competitor, he wanted nothing more than to come back for that Texas game. And out of your star quarterback, that's what you want. But
Absolutely.
you also need a team doctor and or head coach that says that to be the grown up in the room and be like, listen, we want you out there, but if you ain't ready, you ain't ready. And I just don't think he was, and I think he's still playing through it. And maybe it heals as time goes on. I mean, obviously he played better against Ole Miss. the talent's there, and he's got talent around him there. He's eventually going to figure it out, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna knock him and say that he's not as good as we thought he was. I think he's every bit as good as we thought he was. I just think he's going through a rough patch with his injury, and you better keep a damn eye on him because a nine-fingered John Mateer is 1,000 times better than Kentucky's quarterback, and read them stats off again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, this is another weird statistic. Joey Aguilar's seventh in the conference in QBR, quarterback rating. John Mateer's 10th. Cutter Boley is 11th. I don't know how much he moved up after playing us last week, but I mean, Arch Manning's 14th.
Who's number
So
one? Ty Simpson by a pretty good margin.
Gunnar Stockton,
Hmm.
90.7. Taylon Green is second. Trinidad Chambliss is third. Diego Pavia is fourth. Ty Simpson fifth. This is just QBR, which is a lot of numbers that roll into one. So
That's interesting.
I don't know why Diego Pavia is so high. That dude's not thrown for 200 yards in a conference game this year. I don't know why that is, but piss on your analytics, right, Harb?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we both think Tennessee beats Oklahoma this weekend, right?
I do. Real quick, you said piss on your analytics. I heard something really good. I think it was it was Jimmy Dykes during Tennessee's exhibition game. They said, "Man, everybody wants to talk about analytics. Sometimes you have to follow gutalytics."
Gutalytics. There you go.
Gutalytics. So if you're our analytics guy, I'm the gutalytics
Yeah,
guy.
there you go.
I love
Harbin is the Gutalytics analyst here on the Section YY podcast.
We'll make the graphic.
We'll make it. I'll get somebody to maybe AI can make you a logo for Gutalytics with your
God,
face on
I don't even want to know what that would look like.
it. All right. So we've talked about Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma. Let's move on to the power rankings. How about it, Harb?
Let's do it.
I went first last week. You want to go first this week?
I can.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try to do these as quickly as possible. 16, I've got Kentucky. You get sent back to the mines.
Yes.
You get 56 hung on you at home. They've now lost 10 straight conference home games.
Did I read this right that Tennessee has beaten Kentucky more times than Kentucky's won an SEC game in the last like 3 or 4 years at home or something like that? Or there was some like stat where Tennessee's won 3 games the last, I don't know, however many years it would be. I just butchered that. But anyways, we've won a lot up there. So
You're
and they
saying
haven't.
you're saying we've won more in Kroger Field over the last few years than they have.
Hmm.
Okay,
That's what I'm getting at.
probably true. 15, I've got Arkansas.
Ooh, dropping the hogs a spot.
Yep, drop the hogs. 14, I've got South Carolina. They move up a spot because they almost beat Alabama. That would have been cool. They didn't pull it off, but it is what it is. They move up one spot to 14. 13, I've got Mississippi State. And it's getting to where I feel bad for Mississippi State.
Yeah, me too.
They're a pretty good football team, and they invent ways to lose. And I think Jeff Levy's kind of on the hot seat, and I think he's a pretty good coach. Down the stretch is not great for him, but room for improvement. 12, I've got LSU.
Ooh, trouble in the bayou.
This is the beginning of the tier of how can you be any higher without a coach? So LSU gets manhandled by A&M in Death Valley. A&M's obviously very good. It just can't happen, and that was the end of an era for Brian Kelly and company. Just the worst fit of all time. Like when he said that family at the
Yes,
basketball game, everybody's like, "Is this gonna go well?" And no, it didn't.
it didn't.
And yeah, they're at 12, and I've got Florida at 11. Florida didn't play this week, and they moved up, I think. So they also don't have a coach. They played Georgia this week with the "we just fired our coach" boost, so that might be something to keep an eye on. At 10, I've got Auburn. They got a conference win. They won at Arkansas. I think they actually scored some points to get there. They scored 34, I think.
They did.
So it is there. It's there somewhere. See if they can compound and keep it going. 9 is Texas. I think they're idle in my standings. They should have lost that game, but credit to
Mm.
them for gutting out a 17-point comeback in the fourth quarter. So you can look at it either way you want. At 8, I have Oklahoma. Uh, they lost to Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss is a good team. Like we just discussed everything about Oklahoma, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that. At 7, I've got Missouri. Missouri is not as fun and exciting as I thought they were, which Vandy is really good at mucking it up on teams, so I will give them a little bit of credit on that. But, and you called this a long time ago. You said Missouri's overrated. They probably are just a hair, but they're still not bad. And that's why I only dropped them maybe one spot, I think, to 7. At 6, I have Tennessee. They have an opportunity to move up. You, I think this is pretty good for them. I mean, our best win is Mississippi State, but our two losses are to Bama and Georgia. You can look at this however you want to. 5 is Vandy. Big win. Game day was there. They won by what was it, 2 inches?
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's another reason why I barely dropped Missouri. Um, yeah, just they're a solid football team, and that just is what it is. 4, I've got Ole Miss, good win over Oklahoma this weekend. 3 is Georgia. 2 is Alabama, and number 1 is Texas A&M. I believe I had Bama 1 last week.
You did.
Bama and A&M both had road games. LSU is better than South Carolina. Texas A&M beat LSU by 30 or 20 something, whatever it was, and Bama beat South Carolina by less than 3. So that's why I flip flop them in these rankings. And that's my list. If you don't like it, make your own.
Mm. Well, hard. My list is almost identical to yours. Crazy because we've been pretty not polar opposites, but a lot of variety between your power rankings and mine as the season's gone on. Bottom four stayed the same for me. Kentucky at 16, Arkansas at 15. They lost to Auburn. Yuck. South Carolina stays at 14. Mississippi State, we mentioned them. Like, they got to slip up and find a win here somewhere, right? I mean, they've been in some games. They're competitive. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just not good and they just I don't know. It's kind of wild watching some of their games. I mean, think of the Tennessee game they could have won last week versus Texas. But I've got them at 13. I kept Florida at 12. I think they were off last week, so no movement there. I've still got Auburn at 11. Uh, they saved Hugh Freeze's job at least for another week. You know, he was one of the two other coaches I thought might um, fall at some point this season. I wasn't. necessarily expecting Brian Kelly. I mean, that was out there, but I didn't expect it this early. But uh, they nice win for them at Arkansas. Come from behind. They stay at 11. I kept Texas at 10. Texas is not good. I mean, they're just not. Let's just call a spade here. Their offense stinks. Their defense is pretty good. They gave up a ton of points to Mississippi State. Arch Manning is, I don't know if I haven't checked to see, but he left the game in overtime last week with a concussion. Um, Up in the air whether or not he plays this week against Vandy. They host Vandy at home, so they're just not good, guys. I mean, everybody keeps. I was watching Game Day Saturday, and Nick Saban said, I think I keep waiting on Texas to do it, and this is the week they're going to do it, and they just never do. At some point, they are what they are, and they're not good. Even though they have two losses, which is crazy. LSU at 9. There's trouble in the Bayou. I don't know if you saw this or not, hard, but the governor pretty much fired Brian Kelly. And now the governor is saying that the AD will not hire the next coach. Same AD who hired Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M hired Brian Kelly. Massive contracts, massive amount of years, massive buyouts. I mean, if I'm that guy, how can he still be the AD at LSU at this point?
You stole my hater and loser.
Oh, well, I'll not say any more about it because that was probably going to be my hater and loser too. But
Well,
this,
no, it's
like,
fine. I mean, just imagine being so bad at your job that the governor of your state steps in and says, "You're not doing this anymore."
I mean, he is on the board of trustees. I get that, but that is insane. That is insane that the governor's like, we're putting together a committee. They're going to hire the next coach. But
That's so funny.
there is a
I love
lot,
every part of that.
just a lot going on in Baton Rouge right now. Ticket price increase, people pissed off, leaving the game early. A&M fans took over that stadium like we did in 2022. It's wild to see Tiger Stadium at night look like that.
You want to know why I love, or I love going down to Baton Rouge, but I love and respect LSU so much because they made one bad coaching hire choice, and the damn governor steps in and says, "We're not doing this again. Like
Yeah,
we're gonna figure this out, and this is never happening again." God bless the state of Louisiana and their
yeah,
governor.
I agree. Crazy.
It's damn funny.
We're into the top 8 on my power rankings. I kept Oklahoma at 8. Um, we'll see what they do this weekend. I just think they're mid. They're better than they were last year, obviously, but still a lot of deficiencies there. My top 8 honestly didn't move. I've got Missouri at 7. They showed a lot of guts, a lot of fight at Vandy, but they're now without their quarterback, fractured ankle. That's not going to help. They really didn't have much of a passing game to begin with, but I don't know. Oklahoma's probably better than they are, but I'm giving Missouri the benefit of the doubt because they played Vandy pretty tough. Got Tennessee at 6. We've talked about them, what's in front of them, what they got to do. I've got Vandy at 5. Not a very flashy team at all. Not a lot of offense, but they just make plays. They find a way to win. Now, I don't know what's that going to look like this weekend at Texas. Again, does it matter if Arch Manning plays? I don't know. They're favored by a couple points going into Darrell K. Royal Stadium there in Austin. If they can go down there and beat Texas on the road in that atmosphere, this team might be a legit SEC championship contender, which is crazy for me to say, but we almost need Vandy to beat Texas for our playoff hopes. Get them out of the way. We beat Oklahoma, get them out of the way. Missouri's done. Vandy took care of them last week. So it's another one of those things you got to look around at the dominoes that need to fall. But I've got Vandy at 5. Pretty solid football team. I don't know if they can sustain it. We'll see, but they're there. Ole Miss at 4. Nice bounce back win at Oklahoma in some sloppy conditions. 35-26, I think was the final, something like that. So nice win for the Rebels. A lot of talk about Lane. Is he going to Florida? Is he going to LSU? Where's he going? He might stay in Oxford. They might never want him to leave. I got Georgia at 3. They were off last week. They are in Jacksonville this weekend versus the Gators, world's largest cocktail party. I kept Bama at 2 just because they struggled so much with South Carolina, but you knew South Carolina was going to fight. Um, Tough game, but somebody said, "How does Bama and Georgia keep winning these games? Like winners win, guys. They know how to win." And they just figure it out. And sometimes the breaks fall their way too. So that doesn't hurt either. A&M is at 1. To me, they're the leader in the clubhouse, clearly the best team in the conference. Great defense, offense is coming around. Marcel Reed looks great, throwing and running the football. They're the number 1 team in the SEC. Some would say they might be the best team in the country. I don't know about that, but they're number 1 in my rankings. So that's your top 16, the only top 16, because there's only 16 in the conference. SEC Power Rankings, brought to you by nobody. And like Harbin said, if you don't like our rankings, go make your own and share it with us, and we'll repost it. Interact with us.
Yes.
Harb, you had a hater and a loser of the week. Do you want to expand on that?
No, we already did. But if we are doing haters and losers of the week right now, it, I guess that's a good segue. I will flip mine to Fox.
Oh, you took mine. Let's do a combo here. Fox 43.
Yeah, that's fine. So our two haters and losers are LSU's AD and Fox 43. And this is not solely on Fox 43 because I did some research on X, the Everything app, and there were multiple different markets across the country that had the same issue. But it wasn't all of them. It's kind of weird. So, for those of you that don't know or don't keep up with baseball, Game 3 of the World Series was an instant classic. Game went to 18 innings, lasted 6.5 hours. They almost ran out of baseballs.
Yeah, I did.
They almost ran out of baseballs. They ran out of pitchers. They ran out of pinch hitters. It was just insane. The game ended at roughly what 3:30 a.m. Eastern time.
I don't know. I turned it off when it went to Access Hollywood with Mario Lopez.
Well, hang on, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So, I believe the game was in the 13th inning. I left work, and it was bottom of the ninth. On the way home, stop get some food. I eat, get in the driveway, and kind of scrolling on my phone. I get an ESPN notification. Forgot all about the game. It said Dodgers Blue Jays are headed to the 13th inning. I said, "Oh, crap! I need to get in here and turn this game on, catch the end of it." I go to YouTube TV. I turn on Fox, and TMZ is on my TV. So then I go back to the ESPN app. I'm like, "Damn! Did the Dodgers walk it off like while I was walking in the house?" Nope. No, there's runners on first and second with one out. And I was like, "What in the world's going on?" So then I text in the group chat, and apparently it had just happened. So it was kind of weird timing on my end. So I text y'all and I said, "Why is TMZ on my TV?" And you and Bowling both said the same thing. And it lasted for a good what 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
I saw, yeah, it was a while.
Could you imagine if Freddie Freeman would have hit that walk-off home run while TMZ was on Fox?
I was mad and I don't even have a dog in the fight. Like I could care less
It's
about
the
these. I
World
just want to watch
Series.
baseball.
It's the World Series. It's not like it's Friday night baseball in the regular season.
Yeah.
It's game 3 of the World Series. I'm serious. Imagine if Freddie Freeman would have hit that walk-off home run in the 13th inning. I'm sure somebody got fired regardless.
So what you mentioned you found something like did it say what the problem was?
No, well, I haven't looked at it since then, but I just searched Fox TMZ on Twitter, and it was doing the same thing in like somewhere in Wisconsin, and I saw another one in like Ohio or Illinois. It was kind of sporadic all over the place. And it was funny because this one guy kept, there was a Dodgers fan, I think, responding to a lot of them saying, "Hey, I hope it's working now. Dodgers have a guy on second with two outs," or something. Like it was, he was giving them live updates. It was actually really funny, kind of wholesome. But, but yeah, I mean, what the hell?
I'm
That's the
trying
most
to
TMZ I've watched in the last 15 years. I didn't even want to.
so on my end, I was laying in bed watching it and I was kind of asleep, but I could still hear the TV. And I kind of woke up and the news was on, the local news, Channel 10 or Fox 43 carries Channel 10. Katie Inman was on my TV. And I was like, heck, guys, I guess I slept through the end of the game. So I pulled my phone up and it says top of the 13th. They're still playing. I'm like, well, where'd the game go? So I turn it on FS1 and poker's on and I can't figure out what's going on. So I go to X and everybody like me, I mean, this is what, 1 in the morning and everybody's ranting and raving. Like, where's the game at? Which was encouraging because people were watching the World Series. That's awesome. But they played pretty much the half of the newscast. And then it starts glitching, the screen's flashing, technical difficulties, and it's doing all this crazy stuff. And then TMZ comes on. And so then I log on to the Fox One app, which I didn't know what the Fox One app was. It was just the first Fox app that popped up on my Roku. And so I logged on to it. Well, I must have logged on to it right when it came back on the air because right when I got on, I got a text from you all saying game's back on. And so I just said, well, I'm just going to keep it here. So I just kept it there. Then it went out again on that app. In the 16th inning, I look up Mario Lopez, AC Slater's on my TV, talking Access Hollywood with some blonde headed chick. And I'm like, damn it. So I switched over to the Fox Sports app, logged in, put my carrier in. Then it wouldn't play. It said not available or some error or something. I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to bed. It's 2 in the morning. I can't, like, I just can't do it. I'm not sitting here searching TV channels all night. It just sucks because a guy I work with texted me and he said he doesn't watch a lot of baseball. And he said, the one time I sit down to watch a baseball game, this happens. Wish we could find out what it was. I've tried to Google it while you were talking and nothing's coming up. Um, it was just odd. Like, I'm glad it wasn't just in Knoxville, that it was something else because maybe it wasn't Fox 43 that did it. I don't know. This is like, how does that happen in this day and age? And then it's like they couldn't figure it out. They were like pressing all kinds of buttons to see which one worked, and it didn't work. Um, I don't know. It sucked. I mean, it just I tweeted at Fox 43 the next night. I was like, what inning's the game going to turn off tonight? It'll be the seventh with runners on the corners and nobody out. You're gonna turn it off and turn TMZ back on. Who's dating who? Um, yeah, that was my hater and loser of the week. Was I maybe shouldn't have said Fox 43, but just Fox in general. Um, that was crazy the other night though. Sitting there trying it's one of the three major sports associations in the world, or at least in this country, and the damn game goes off. You imagine that happening during the Super Bowl? I mean, they did have a power outage one time, but that's different. It's not like somebody pulled the plug on the Superdome. I don't know. It's crazy. It was just sad.
it was sad, but it was truthfully unfair.
Yeah, it was actually.
And the shittiest thing, I just committed to staying up for it.
I tried. I just couldn't do it anymore.
I committed to staying up for it. I fell asleep in the bottom of the 17th.
I
So I woke up.
couldn't.
So I woke up exhausted, and I didn't even get to see the end of it.
I still, even though I turned it off in the 16th, I still woke up the next morning. I was dragging all day long. Um, the one funny thing about it is if you were on X that night, WVLT Sports, Channel 8 here in Knoxville, started tweeting like batter by batter updates of what was going on because they saw whoever was running that account saw that the game had gone off of Fox 43. And then when it came back on, they're like, all right, thanks for joining along. Back to the game. Then it happened again and they tweeted, we're back. And they were like, so and so grounded at the first, one out. So and so got a base hit. They were like play by play pretty much, which was cool. Not that there was probably a lot of people on X at that time of night, but there was some. I was one of them. I was sitting there trying to figure out what was going on, and it seemed like everybody else was having that issue too. But Harb, a huge tailgate this weekend coming up. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings of a lot of people. Huge.
Yeah,
I'm hearing
it's gonna be a good one.
it's going to
Um,
be a good one.
I can promise you one thing. I can't promise you if Tennessee is going to win by 14 or if we're going to lose by a certain margin or the exact point total or if you're going to hit your square in your ball board at halftime. I can promise you one thing. I can promise you one thing. When me and Big Montana are walking in that stadium, we will be giving our all for Tennessee. And you can connect dots however you want. About 30 minutes before kickoff, your boy will be giving his all for Tennessee.
I heard it might get weird, if you know what I mean. And for those that know, IYKYK. If you know, you know. When I say it's going to get weird, we might have a special guest there who likes to get weird.
Mm. We might get a lot of the band back together.
I heard that.
There's a few that are definitely coming as well. I've got some of my Sevier County peeps that are gonna drop by. It's gonna be an interesting little day.
It's going to be a good one.
It
Got
should
some.
be. It should be.
That's what this is about.
It's our one night game of the year.
I mean, it's a big game too. Don't forget about. I mean,
And listen,
yeah, it's not the
a couple
college
years
game
from
day.
now, a couple years from now, you're not gonna remember how tired you were Sunday morning, or the little headache you got, or maybe the sore throat from screaming in the kind of chilly weather. You're gonna remember the fellowship with your brothers and sisters that wear orange. That's what you're gonna remember, and the game, obviously. You can sleep it off later.
What Sunday afternoon naps are for. Wow. I was just saying it wasn't the game day game. I didn't realize game day's going to Utah, Cincinnati versus Utah.
The game day last week should have went to North Dakota State and South Dakota State.
Yeah, they've been catching a lot of flack for that one.
I think they were undefeated. Both teams were undefeated.
Tennessee Tech's undefeated,
Really.
and they've got a legit chance to win all their games now. They've still got to play Kentucky, but
You know who's not undefeated?
who?
Well, technically they are, but in exhibition games, Tennessee basketball.
Oh yeah, I about forgot about them. Tennessee basketball hosted Duke on Sunday night. That's why we didn't record Sunday night because I was there. Harb was watching. Um, Tennessee lost, what was it, 83-76, something like that. Harb asked me before we started recording what I thought. I saw some good. I saw some not good things. But that's what you see in these exhibition games. I mean, last year Tennessee lost to Indiana. Chaz Lanier shot 3 of 16 from 3-point range. I mean, you can't put a whole lot of stock into these exhibition games. The one thing that I don't want to say concerned me, but I was kind of scratching my head was with and I now know that his name is Ament, Nate Ament. A lot of one-on-one, just not even, I mean, maybe kind of isolation play. Um, didn't shoot the ball very well at all, but he still had 14 points, 10 rebounds. But that Boozer kid for Duke, good Lord,
I'm not
24.
I'm not pretending to be an NBA scout, but damn, I think I might know a top three pick when I see one.
That guy was good. And he didn't even shoot that well, but he had 24 points, 23 rebounds. He was a tough hombre on the glass. Tennessee got out rebounded, which we're not used to here. I thought Tennessee's defense in the second, and I thought they played the game somewhat legit. They did play a lot of combinations of players, but I didn't think Tennessee's defense was very good in the second half. And Rick Barnes said it after the game. I was listening to his show. He said, "We're not as physical as we have been in the past, but I promise you, we will be." Which means he's got some work to do, and he's going to make them physical if they're not right now. But I don't know. I thought Gillespie looked all right. That's a good team Tennessee played. So,
Oh
that
yeah,
we were walking out of the arena, and I looked at my uncle and I said, that is a Sweet 16 top game to me right there. That you saw two teams that would
I
possibly
think
play each
I
other in
think it's
Sweet
an
16.
Elite Eight matchup.
Yeah, that kind of frame area.
Yeah. So
Um,
I kind of wrote down a few notes, I guess, for the game. Gillespie is going to win us a couple games, like on his own. Like he just floor general. Like it was kind of one of those best case scenario deals to replace Ziegler. I think he's. I don't think he's as good defensively as Ziegler, obviously, but he's he showed some very good defensive play. He's bigger. He's been in some big spots. He's a good shooter. He didn't shoot it well against Duke, but he's been there, and having an upperclassman leader being your floor general really helps. Dwayne Brown, I just wrote stonks.
I
Buy
like
stock,
him.
buy stock now in Dwayne Brown. He had
I
10
like
points and 6 rebounds in what, 9 minutes?
something like, and yeah,
Yeah, he was all over the place. We didn't see a lot of Estrella, which is a little weird. And
yeah. I think they're being careful with him. He's been a little banged up. Him and Cade Phillips both have.
that's fine, but Kate Phillips was out there a decent amount though.
True.
Um, Pointed out the rebounding thing. You're going to get out rebounded when one guy gets 23. That just is what it is.
True. Touche.
Um, Ament is going to be a project, or he's a project right now, but he's going to be just fine. He's going to be good. In my opinion, I think he was kind of trying to keep up with Boozer, maybe prove himself a little bit on national TV. Just doing too much, but he's young. He'll figure it out. And he's got all the talent in the world, huge upside. I'm not worried about him, but it is going to be a little bit of a project. Might be some growing pains before conference play gets here. Um, and I just wrote down Cameron Boozer's a dog. I called him Boozer Jr. just because it rolls off tongue better. Obviously, he's not a junior, but Boozer Jr. sounds better than Cameron Boozer. And he's legit. He's that big. He's not just tall, he's thick. And he can create his own shot off the dribble. Good defender, excellent rebounder. Dude's insane. I don't want to overreact to an exhibition game. That between him and probably that kid that's at BYU, AJ something. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because I'll embarrass myself. But those are probably the top two to look at for best players in the country. But I think Tennessee's going to be good. I think Duke's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to be good. We're going to be right there in the upper tier of what should be another deep SEC this year. And we're only going to get better. Like we have a lot of new faces on this team. And I saw a thing on it was a little interview with Cade Phillips on Instagram the other day, He's the longest tenured player on this team.
He's been here a while.
That made me feel old, dude. He's just a junior.
Yeah,
How is there's no way he came in before Estrella.
I can't remember what
There-
class he was in.
There's no way. Like, even if it is true, and I guess it is because they said Cade Phillips longest tenured, that just doesn't make sense in my brain. But anyway, exhibition games, you're always going to see some stuff you like, some stuff you don't like. You're knocking out kinks. There's a lot of lineups that aren't going to see the light of day, more than likely. Um, Also, I love, is it Abram? Abram?
Yes.
Cam Tatum vibes. I mean, high socks
Oh yeah.
and baggy undershirt. I mean, that man took me back to 2006, and I appreciated the heck. And he wears number 77. Just all time vibes guy.
Couple notes on my end. Like, look at it statistically. These two teams were pretty even. Just looking at I hadn't really sat down and looked at the stats, but Tennessee scored 76 points and had a 7 minute field goal drought, not a scoring drought, but a field goal drought in the second half. Duke wasn't much better in the second half, especially late. I looked at my dad at one point. I was like, God, neither one of these teams have hit a shot in forever. Just speaks to the defense both teams were playing, especially late. But statistically, they were pretty even. I mean, like I mentioned, Duke out rebounded Tennessee by 9, partially on the back of Boozer's 23 boards. But a couple notes. I don't know why I've not read anything about it or seen. Amari Evans and Troy Henderson for Tennessee did not play at all. They were the only two that didn't play. Um, Troy Henderson, some have said, might be battling for the backup point guard role. So I was kind of wanting to see him. Amari Evans is supposedly supposed to be a scorer. I don't know if they're banged up and they were just being careful with him and just didn't want to play him. Again, it's an exhibition. Crazy thing about this whole thing, Harb, is that place was packed, 21,000 for an exhibition game on a Sunday night in October. Uh, Rob Lewis or one of those guys posted on X like, remember when the black curtains were down in the 90s? Now look at this place. That just shows you it's not just Rick Barnes. There was Bruce Pearl before him. And so we've had some basketball success, since the black curtains were down at TBA, but it just shows you like where Rick Barnes has taken this program and they're just right there on the cusp of making that next step. And can they do it? We'll see this year. They're going to be right in the mix again to do that. But that was I walked in and I knew it was sold out, and I walked in and looked around. I was like, man, this is crazy for an exhibition game. This game doesn't count on your record. Nobody will talk about. I mean, they'll talk about it, but it factors into nothing for the season. And it's 21,000 sold out. Students were packed in. It was awesome. I don't like losing, but that was one of the games I left, and I was like, oh well. Just wanted to see the Vols play basketball. I mean, I said it last week. Who would have ever thought we would see Duke play in Thompson Bowling Arena against Tennessee? I wish it was a regular season game. That would be awesome.